Fox 32 has investigated Henyard's use of a police security detail, taking officers off the street and costing thousands of dollars.
Is there a motion to terminate?
A political scandal is rocking the small town of Dolton, Illinois, and it's playing out like a real-life soap opera. At the heart of this chaos is Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who went from being a community leader to a symbol of everything wrong in politics. Once praised as a hopeful voice for the town, Henyard is now drowning in accusations of corruption, reckless spending, and abuse of power. Her lifestyle, more fit for a celebrity than a public servant, has everyone asking, how can a small-town mayor afford such luxury? Especially when Dolton's residents are struggling and the town itself is buried in debt. Reports show Henyard has blown an eye-popping $67,000 on travel alone. Think first-class flights, five-star hotels, and fancy dinners. And who's paying? For all this? Taxpayers, of course. Meanwhile, Dolton's streets are crumbling, services are falling apart, and locals are barely scraping by. Critics say Henyard's actions perfectly capture the worst of modern politics, a leader who's completely out of touch with her people. Instead of fixing Dolton's financial crisis, Henyard seems more focused on living large, with reports hinting at public funds being used for personal gain. Allegations of corruption are piling up fast, and the town's patience is running out. Outrage is boiling over in Dolton as Mayor Tiffany Henyard's scandals keep piling up. Many residents now feel completely betrayed by the person they once trusted to lead them. To make matters worse, rumors are swirling that the FBI might soon get involved, with potential raids on the horizon. Some even claim that Henyard's lavish lifestyle is part of a calculated effort to stay above the law, acting as if she's untouchable despite mounting evidence against her. Trust in local government has all but vanished. Dolton, a town of just over 20,000 people, faces an uncertain future, crippled by debt, eroding public services, and a growing sense of despair. Basic services have deteriorated, leaving residents feeling abandoned while their frustrations continue to grow. Henyard's attempts to justify her actions have only added insult to injury. To many, her excuses feel hollow and downright offensive, given the hardships her constituents are facing. Every new revelation about her extravagant spending and alleged misuse of public funds drags Dolton deeper into turmoil. Critics say her relentless pursuit of luxury at taxpayers' expense has become the defining symbol of her administration's failure. The big question now is, how much longer can this go on before Dolton hits a breaking point? As the scandal unfolds, residents watch in disbelief as their town spirals into chaos. While they struggle to make ends meet, the mayor seems more concerned with her high-end lifestyle. With corruption allegations swirling and Dolton's future hanging by a thread, one thing is clear: this drama is far from over. The people of Dolton are left wondering, who will finally step up to restore order and bring accountability back to their community?
Government always does it, is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're doing.
When reporters dug into Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard's finances, what they uncovered was a tangled web of secrecy and defiance worthy of a Hollywood thriller. Despite repeated requests for spending records through official channels, Henyard's team stonewalled the press, refusing to release any documents, even after the state attorney general ordered them to comply. It wasn't until GBN News took legal action that shocking details about Henyard's financial practices came to light, leaving Dolton residents stunned. At the center of the scandal is Henyard's so-called charity, the Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation, which claims to help cancer patients. On paper, it sounds admirable, but reports suggest it's more of a personal slush fund for Henyard's luxury lifestyle. The foundation was suspiciously set up on the same day it received a $10,000 donation from Thornton Township, raising eyebrows. Critics are calling it a well-coordinated scheme rather than a genuine charitable effort. To make matters worse, the foundation hasn't registered with the state or filed any legally required financial disclosures. This has fueled growing suspicions that donations are being funneled into Henyard's extravagant spending habits, luxury trips, designer goods, and high-end indulgences, all disguised as charitable work. For Dolton residents, this feels like the ultimate betrayal. While they struggle with economic hardship and failing public services, their mayor appears to be living in luxury, unchecked. Yet Henyard remains defiant, dismissing the uproar as nothing more than politically motivated attacks. But for a town, drowning in debt and distrust, her defense falls flat. This scandal has thrown a harsh spotlight on an administration seemingly more interested in personal gain than serving the public. Now, the burning question is, how much longer can Henyard keep up this charade before being held accountable? With mounting public outrage and investigators closing in, both Henyard's political future and Dolton's fate hang by a thread. The residents are demanding answers, and fast.
Not guilty of all 9 counts. I believe he's cooperating. And if you cooperate, you have to admit you're...
The drama swirling around Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard has spiraled into a full-blown scandal straight out of a political thriller, complete with ethical failures, power abuse, and jaw-dropping twists. Henyard, already known for stirring up controversy, is now at the center of a serious legal storm. This time, it's a civil lawsuit accusing her of misconduct during a work trip to Las Vegas. A staff member claims she was mistreated and then fired in retaliation after daring to speak up. These accusations have sparked outrage, raising red flags about Henyard's leadership and the toxic culture in her administration. To make matters worse, Henyard hired none other than Beau Brimley to handle her legal troubles. Brimley is infamous for defending shady clients in cases teetering on the edge of legality and ethics. His involvement in this case feels more like adding gasoline to a fire. Critics are slamming the decision, saying it perfectly reflects Henyard's style, focused on spin and survival rather than accountability. With every new twist, it becomes clearer. This isn't just a political mess, it's a chaotic spectacle that keeps getting darker. Dolton residents are growing increasingly frustrated as the scandal involving Mayor Tiffany Henyard shows no signs of slowing down. The Las Vegas allegations have only cemented the belief that Henyard is out of touch with her community, more focused on personal gain than public service. Her team's frantic efforts to downplay the accusations aren't fooling anyone. And the big question remains, how did things get so bad so fast? Adding fuel to the fire is Henyard's infamous $33,000 Amazon shopping spree, which left residents in disbelief. Allegations of misusing public funds for luxury indulgences keep piling up, casting a shadow over her leadership. Meanwhile, the people of Dolton are paying the price, literally. With mounting debt, crumbling infrastructure, and underfunded schools and social programs, the town is slipping further into financial ruin. While Henyard fights high-profile lawsuits and dodges allegations of misconduct, the town's streets remain neglected, schools underfunded, and essential services on the brink of collapse. Residents are tired of the endless scandals that have turned their local government into a circus, where personal gain seems to trump public duty. Henyard's defense? She claims she's a victim of political attacks. But to many, this excuse rings hollow. Critics argue that her administration is more about image and distraction than actual governance. Public trust has eroded to dangerous levels, with residents feeling abandoned as their town spirals deeper into crisis. Rumors are now swirling about possible federal investigations, with whispers of FBI involvement in Henyard's affairs. If true, this could mark a turning point in the scandal that has rocked Dolton. For now, all eyes are on Henyard, and whether she can survive this political firestorm, or if it will finally bring her down. The drama surrounding Mayor Tiffany Henyard has taken an even darker turn, as rumors swirl of federal authorities closing in on her alleged corrupt dealings. According to unverified reports, investigators may have enough evidence to put the embattled mayor behind bars for over 20 years, Though nothing has been officially confirmed, the possibility of looming federal charges has sent shockwaves through Dalton, intensifying speculation about Henyard's political future. To understand how things reached this point, it's worth revisiting Henyard's rapid rise to power. Born and raised in Dalton, she climbed the political ladder quickly, first as a village trustee, then as mayor in 2021. Her initial ascent was hailed as a victory for local leadership. However, critics argue that power quickly went to her head. As mayor, Henyard's leadership style has been described as authoritarian, with accusations of rewarding loyalists and using her influence to threaten political rivals. Some locals claim she runs the town as her personal kingdom, allegedly even employing local police as her private security, while Dalton struggles under severe financial strain. Perhaps the most shocking part of Henyard's tenure is her ability to retain power despite mounting scandals. She has frequently portrayed herself as a victim, often framing criticism as attacks on her identity as a strong Black woman. While this narrative has shielded her from some backlash, many residents now see it as a ploy to dodge accountability and cling to her position, adding to the spectacle. Henyard's penchant for theatrics has not gone unnoticed. One infamous incident saw her show up to a board meeting dressed as Nino Brown, a fictional gangster character. For critics, this only reinforces the image of a leader who prioritizes spectacle over substance. Meanwhile, Dalton's problems continue to worsen, with crushing debt and deteriorating public services becoming an everyday reality for its citizens. Frustration among residents has reached a boiling point. During a recent board meeting, tensions escalated to the point where police had to clear the room as angry locals demanded answers. Calls for Henyard's resignation have grown louder, with the community insisting on transparency and real leadership. As federal investigations loom and public outcry, Mayor Tiffany Henyard's spending habits have come under intense scrutiny, with large sums being wasted on lavish accommodations and questionable credit card transactions. The pressure is mounting, and Henyard's fate is hanging by a thread. The community is outraged over wasted tax dollars, mismanaged funds, and her failure to address vital services. Rumors of FBI raids and growing calls for her resignation have intensified the scrutiny, and the once popular mayor now faces the hard truth. Her leadership is no longer trusted. One of Henyard's former allies, Thorne Township trustee Carmen Carlisle, has become a whistleblower, accusing the mayor of using her position to manipulate funds and inflate her image. Carlisle claims Henyard has been siphoning public money into lavish spending, all while ignoring the growing financial crisis in the town. Things have only gotten worse as Henyard retaliates against anyone who dares to speak out, firing staff and intimidating others into silence. Dalton's financial situation is at a breaking point. Public services are deteriorating, debt is soaring, and Henyard's leadership is increasingly seen as a liability. Even those who once supported her are now turning their backs, as it's clear the mayor cares more about preserving her power and comfort than solving the town's urgent problems. The scandals and legal battles are turning Henyard into a symbol of political dysfunction. Media outlets, legal experts, and political analysts are all asking, how much longer can this go on? With every new revelation, Dalton residents are growing impatient, demanding answers and real change. Meanwhile, Henyard clings to her position, hoping to survive the storm of accusations and investigations. But with federal inquiries looming, lawsuits piling up, and a community fed up with the chaos, her days as mayor may be numbered. Dalton's financial crisis has taken a drastic turn. The village's general fund plunged from a $5.6 million surplus in April 2022 to a $3.65 million deficit by May 2024, a nearly $10 million swing in just 2 years. The Lightfoot report has exposed this troubling picture of mismanagement and waste. including accusations. One of the most shocking examples of Mayor Henyard's reckless spending is her alleged $43,000 Amazon shopping spree in a single day. This outrageous behavior raises serious questions about what else might be hidden in Dalton's financial records. Illinois State Controller Susana Mendoza has had enough. She stopped all state funding to Dalton until Henyard and her administration can prove they're handling the town's finances properly. Mendoza's office has offered help to struggling municipalities in the past, but Dalton's refusal to follow state laws on financial transparency forced her to take this drastic step. In her statement, Mendoza made it clear she will use every tool at her disposal to protect Dalton's taxpayers and safeguard the village's interests. As the financial crisis worsens, the public outrage against Henyard is growing. At a recent town meeting, residents openly expressed their anger. One resident tore into the mayor, accusing her of disrespecting anyone who disagreed with her and refusing to take responsibility. Another shouted about the infamous Las Vegas incident, demanding Henyard address it. "You know what happened in Vegas. You know what happened, and you should be addressing it." The anger is palpable. Many Dalton residents, struggling with poor services and rising debt, are fed up and demanding change from their mayor. Adding fuel to the fire, Henyard's administration is now reeling from a federal investigation. The case has expanded to include her former top aide, Chief Lacey, who was recently indicted on charges of bankruptcy fraud. Lacey is accused of hiding assets and income to avoid paying creditors. This development only raises more questions about the integrity of Henyard's administration, and many are convinced it will only get worse. As the investigation into former top aide Lacey continues, his attorney claims the indictment is part of a larger government effort to target Mayor Henyard. However, many believe that this investigation will eventually tie Henyard into the scandal. As more of her former allies jump ship or get dragged into the mess, it's clear that the storm surrounding her administration is only intensifying. Meanwhile, the people of Dalton are left to deal with the fallout. The town, desperate for competent leadership to fix its crumbling infrastructure and failing services, is instead caught up in a spectacle of scandal and legal battles. Local police officers, who should be focused on protecting the community, have reportedly been reassigned to provide personal security for Henyard and her associates. This comes at a time when Dalton faces financial ruin and rising crime rates. Diverting law enforcement resources to protect an embattled mayor only fuels the growing frustration. As for Henyard herself, it remains to be seen whether she can weather the storm. With the FBI investigation closing in and more of her former supporters turning against her, she's becoming increasingly isolated. Legal experts and political analysts are closely watching, wondering whether Henyard can hold on to her position, or if this is the beginning of the end for Dalton's embattled mayor. Many residents are asking whether Henyard will ever face justice for her alleged wrongdoing, or whether she'll find a way to escape the consequences of her actions. The growing scandals and legal troubles also raise a deeper question. What about the people of Dalton? Will they ever get the leadership and accountability they desperately need and deserve? It's clear that trust in Henyard's administration is crumbling. With the FBI investigation and lawsuits piling up, the town is on the brink of a full-blown crisis. Whether the investigation leads to criminal charges is still unknown, but Dalton's future is now hanging in the balance. The big question remains: will the FBI's investigation be the final blow for Mayor Henyard, or will Dalton residents be forced to take action and push her out of office? This unfolding drama serves as a harsh reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the destructive impact of corruption on local governance. As Henyard's story continues to develop, it's crucial that residents and the public at large continue to ask tough questions, hold leaders accountable, and demand transparency. With Dalton's future at stake, Henyard may soon find that the consequences of her actions are too big to escape. As the situation intensifies, The people of Dalton must stay vigilant, demanding the answers and justice they deserve. This is far from over. Keep watching, because the drama is just getting started.